Hey everybody, Amy here. I'm just popping in before the start of each episode this week to let you know that this week is the end of our ADHD series. We'll go back to normal broadcasting next week, normal episodes dropping on a Monday. This week, what you're going to see is each day, Monday to Friday, is a little episode popping in that is a PS episode. Simply because each of the guests that I interviewed came back to me afterwards and said, oh my goodness, these are the things that I forgot to say. And I thought initially, that's fine, that happens with every episode. But then I realised, actually, it's an ADHD thing, and what more perfect way to celebrate the end of our ADHD series than a PS from our guests. And so each day you'll have a different little PS. It's a different type of episode. I'm just giving them kind of free rein. Share what you want to share. They've got their notes, so nothing gets forgotten. Enjoy those. On Friday, you'll hear from me, and we'll go to an episode today. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Art of Decluttering podcast. Today I have Sylvia's PS episode. Hey, Sylvie.
Hello.
So we're not going to do a who are you intro, any kind of background, because there is a whole episode. So if you haven't listened to Sylvie's first episode, go back a couple of episodes. I think it'll be back 3 and have a listen. It's a really, really good episode. I already had people. It's Wednesday, so it was dropped 2 days ago. And I'm already getting emails from listeners saying, oh my goodness.
Oh, cool. Also, if you forgot what you've listened to already, feel free to go back and listen because, I wouldn't remember something from 2 days ago either.
Let alone a couple of weeks. So I'm going to give you the floor. You share with us. Tell us your PS to our community.
Okay, cool. So the first thing I wanted to say, I had to write a list because I already forgot so many things last time. So I've written a list. I'm going to try and read really succinctly from it. So the first thing I wanted to say to people is that I am a work in progress. So please don't think I have this all worked out.
That's the first thing Callie said too.
I just I really kind of worry when I talk on a podcast I sound like I know what I'm doing.
No.
And so to give an example, there is a pile of boxes in my lounge room. Now, I have talked to Amy about it. I have spent time decluttering it. I have analysed the root cause. I have a weekly cleaner and it all goes on the couch and then back on the floor. I have a housekeeper who has spent time decluttering it. My kids have decluttered. It's still there. So I just want to reassure people that don't think I've got this all together. And the other thing I wanted to say was to thank all of the other guests who've been sharing episodes as well, because I have learnt so much as well. And I've listened to them and gone, oh my gosh, we're the same person, or I think that way too, or I've taken so many tips and tricks from those episodes as well and have started doing them. So I just wanted to, share some of those. So I have started a playlist of 5-minute songs on my Spotify. And so the other day I was I have 20 minutes to do some decluttering. So I put 3 5-minute songs on and then I had a transition song. So, So I knew that when the transition song came on, I was right, I've got 5 minutes to stop, pack up and put this back into some sense of order so that the kids won't come into this half-finished job and just destroy it all, basically.
Shout out to Jodie, well done.
Yeah, so thank you. I'd totally forgotten who that was. So yes, thank you. And we've actually I've got now a list of transition songs with my kids. We've started, I can't remember who the OT was, but the Post-it notes, use Post-it notes and Blue Tack. That one, yes. So we've been doing all right, here are the jobs on Post-it notes. And then with my kids, we've been talking about what are the transition songs. So we've got the final countdown is a 5-minute song. And that is the pack up play song. And then the kids will choose a song for putting our shoes and socks on and then a song for walking out the door. So currently, the song for shoes and socks is 6 Litre GTR by the Chats. So shout out if you're a Triple J listener. And then the leaving song is You'll Be Back from Hamilton. And they chose it. And so they'll go, oh, I'm, shoes and socks time, or I'm going to put it on. It's the final countdown, but I'm going to put my shoes and socks on now. And I'm yes.
That's great.
So that's been really good. We did buy washi tape, which my kids like my daughter chose the colors. Like I had picked one that was like gold and white and black that they had at Kmart. I was like, that'll stand out against the carpet. It'll be really clear to see. And she looked and went, no, that's boring. Let's get the colored one. Like it's almost the same color as the carpet. So fingers crossed that will work. But we bought them on Friday and we still have not actually done the footpaths, but the kids are very excited about doing it.
Maybe you could aim to do it tomorrow when one of the transition songs is on.
Oh, mate, no. It'll happen. And I've been playing, I've made a morning playlist with like the wake up song, the get out of bed song, the like take my tablet song. So there's like a shower song and a hair song and like all these songs. And then some of the other songs, the kids are like, that's the daddy walking down the stairs song. And this is the such and such song. So that's been really successful. However, the family dynamic and the different kind of sensory needs in our family require that the music is not on when we're eating breakfast. So that's been a bit of a challenge for me because it really helps me keep on track. But then like, if I turn it off, it's just gone.
Can you put one earbud in?
No.
No, okay.
So what we worked out, my husband was like, just put John Cage 4 minutes 33 on.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I just put that on twice for while we're eating breakfast, and then the music will start. And it's like, it's 7:10. We got to get going. So that's been really good. I suppose, so there's some of the different things. I probably tried other things and have forgotten to put them down as well. So I just really wanted to kind of shout out to the other people who've come on and shared lots of ideas. Really helpful. I do want to see some kind of Mexican standoff between Trish and my daughter, because I was like, you haven't met my kid. There's no way these things would work in my house.
I reckon. I wish you guys lived closer, because I actually think that Trish has that ability to kind of hack, like make them think that they're being defiant or whatever. So it is very interesting.
It was so funny. Like some of the things, it was like, put this here or have pens in every room in the house. Like we have theoretically a box of tissues for every room in the house. And yet when I want a tissue, I cannot find a box of tissues. They are never in their home.
That's why you need one stuffed in your bra. Maybe when the song comes on for you to take your medication in the morning, you also shove a tissue in your bra.
No, it's just, anyway, so the next thing I wanted to say to people is that like we get told that we are not trying hard enough. And I think we all kind of believe that, I'm lazy, I'm not good at tidying, I'm not good at cleaning, and I don't try hard enough and this and that. And I think I really believed that about myself. And as I was going through and putting all these new things, and I went, you know what, like I have spent my whole life experimenting and trying new systems and coming up with new systems, and this one didn't work. All right, try the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that, I'm imagining a lot of the people out there would also be like that like you're so resourceful and researching, and you do follow the advice, and then it doesn't work because that's not how our brains work. But like, so just to be really kind to yourselves and know that like you are trying really hard and you are trying hard enough, and that what you need is not to try more, you need better strategies. So hopefully some of the things I've shared will be helpful. What else did I say here? Oh, okay. I had a thing about the word just. Did this pique your interest when I wrote the dot point?
I knew exactly what you meant, because when I think of it, like people like, yes, I knew exactly what you meant.
So I've put the word just in here because so often when someone says flippantly, just clean up as you go, or just, put one thing away and then get the other thing out. Like when people use the word just, what it means is they think that thing is easy, or like maybe unconsciously. I don't think anyone's trying to be mean, but when they use the word just, they're saying this is an easy thing to do. Just brush your teeth. Do it while you brush your teeth. Like brushing my teeth is really hard and I have to make myself do it every day. So just brush your teeth is like, that's not an easy thing for me to do. So just clean up as you go. Well, what does that mean? Like if I just clean up as I go, I might spend an hour scrubbing the sink and cleaning the drain and not actually doing the thing that I was meant to be doing in the first place. So I guess taking advice with a grain of salt, and not assuming that things are easy for people, because you don't know, I guess, what's going on for people, and the people giving you advice out there don't know how hard things are for you, because so much of this is like wrapped up in our minds that people don't see.
Can I add one of the things I found? I find it it's not so much a triggering word. I think that's overused, but an annoying thing when they're just exercise for 30 minutes a day. Just don't look at your phone before you go to bed and you'll sleep better. Just da-da-da. And so what I've reframed is, instead of perceiving them as saying it's easy, I perceive them as saying it's simple, because I know that just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. And so that has helped me be way less annoyed with people who say they're just.
Yes.
It's like, yep, what you're telling me is simple. I agree.
Yes.
It's so hard.
I will look into that. That's my standard response. Oh, thank you for the advice. I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Okay. I did think of some examples, like immediately after we hung up. I was like, oh, I couldn't think of an example in the episode, and now I've thought of them all. So I think we talked in our episode about what best means and that it can change. So one time my daughter decided to order my books that I had on my bedside table by page number, which took her quite some time. And she said, this is the way we order the books, by page number. And I said to her, how will I find a book if I want to read one? Because I don't know the page number of each of those books to know where to find the book. So in her mind, that's clearly the best way to order it. And in my mind, that's not the best way, because I want to be able to find the books easily. So best for me is putting them in an order where I can know, like, however I've ordered it, I know that information about each of those books. So for some people, I know it's color. For me, it is not color. For me, it's alphabetizing. Like, I know the name of the book. I know what the starting letter is. So I can very easily and clearly categorize them and order them and find them. But to her, that was not the best way.
Well, and to her, for her books, that may be the best way, because you remember when you're at that age where you are learning to read longer books, the first thing my kids used to do when they got a reader was go to the back and see how many pages it was.
Yes.
And then they would start reading. And so to her, that probably is like, that makes so much sense.
That's logical. I know how many pages are in all of my books.
Yeah, it's best for her.
Yeah, exactly. And another one, which I thought of, is that I don't put the blinds up in my house or open the curtains every day. Now, that's best on some days and not best on other days. And some people are thinking, oh, that's lazy, not opening the blinds, like, my mum. But for me, it's efficient. So in winter, we leave before the sun comes up. We get home after it goes down. If we're not going to be home all day, I'm kind of like, well, I'm going to leave the curtains closed, because then we're going to get less heat loss from the house. So, and no one's here, so why does it matter if the curtains are closed?
Great.
Right? But then if I'm working from home, every curtain and blind is open, even if I'm not in those rooms, because I don't want to feel like I'm in a prison, even though I know that it's going to lose heat in winter. So I guess, that definition, is it efficient because I don't then have to remember to close the blinds at the end of the day? Is it lazy? You decide.
I think it's efficient, but that's, of course, I do.
I'm all about efficiency. So that's one, and that's very, like, not everyone would think things through that way. Like, I know my mum is like, well, you just have to open the blinds, like, it's part of your morning routine. And then part of your evening routine is that you close the blinds. And I get caught out because I'll forget to close the blinds. I actually have an alarm in my phone, 4:30, close the blinds. Because otherwise it gets dark and it starts getting cold, and all the rooms get cold because the blinds are up.
Do you know how often I go to bed and look at the blinds and think, I really can't be bothered closing those, or I'll close them after I brush my teeth, and then I climb into bed and Cal will come to bed and go, why are you in bed with the blinds open? Like, and if he's away, I will just not close the blinds. I'll sleep with the blinds open because I cannot be bothered closing them and opening them, just to make you feel that you're not lazy. I am.
Well, it's not lazy, right? Like it's an amount of energy that
it's a spoon I don't have.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're making a really good value judgment about, do I really want to waste a spoon on putting the blind down?
Yeah.
If it's not important to you. So efficient. The next thing I had was like, I have all these little mantras and sayings that I write down and hope that like I'll actually do them. The more I say it, maybe the more I'll do it. So divorce the thinking from the doing is another one that I do. And that is about separating those two things. So I will try not to go to the shops and think, what do I need to buy? I'll write a shopping list. And when I go to the shops, you go, I need this, go get it. I need this, go get it. So that's like a pretty standard one that people will do. So meal planning is one. So now when I go shopping, generally like for clothes or we need to buy dinners or something for the house, I will do heaps and heaps of research at home, online, talk to people, read reviews, all of that. And then in the shop, I will go hold up a photo and say, I want this thing. And the person will go get it and I'll buy it. And it takes 5 minutes because I've had so many experiences of like shopping for a laptop or a TV or something and like getting complete decision fatigue in the shop of like, we've looked at 10 and I don't know what to get, and doing the thinking in the shop. I often end up not buying the thing at the end of all of that because I'm just like, I don't know, I can't do this right now.
That's excellent, because mine is not that I get the decision fatigue, but when I'm in the shopping centre, I'm like, I'm too hot, it's too noisy, my shoes feel funny, why did I wear a jumper?
It's overwhelming. So like I bought a new router recently. It's really cool. It lets you turn off the internet to specific devices in the household, but not to everybody.
I think I might have to get a reco on
and
that.
So there's an app and you just like turn them on and off. And I did the research and I talked to people. I actually went into the shop one day with the specific purpose of working out which one to get. And I talked to the people and I was like, which one? And there's 2 different models and one is like a faster router speed than the other. And I was like, I don't know what the difference is. And then I didn't buy anything and I went away, talked to people, and then I went, okay, that's the one I want. I literally went and said, I want this, please. And the woman went off and found it for me and I bought it and like, done, job done.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah. So that's something that I know for myself. Very often, if I look at too many things in a shop, I just won't buy anything. It's too much. I get overwhelmed and I end up not getting the thing at all.
That's awesome.
So I think we had a discussion in Head, Heart and Home, or like one of your episodes ages ago. We had this thing about fairies. Like
yes.
Being your own fairy godmother or being your own fairy.
Being your own declutter fairy. Yep.
Yeah. So that's one that really resonated with me, of like, just wanting to wake up in the morning and come downstairs and go, like the kitchen bench is already clear. Like the fairy came and did it. And that really motivates me the night before to go, I'm going to be the fairy and do the dishes. And then in the morning, all the dishes are clean. Or, clear the table. And then in the morning, the table's already clear and ready to go for breakfast or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's one that motivates me. And then the other thing is like hacks with my kids. So we've talked about so many different ones over the years. And I'm finding that telling people to tidy up is not like, it's boring. Why should I do that? I don't want to do that. And
it's non-specific.
Yeah. Turning it. And so, like we've, as you say, non-specific, we've gone to like, okay, I want you to pick up 3 things that are on the floor and put them in their home. I want you to find something that's yours and put it in its home. Like we've gone to that like nitty gritty level of specific instructions. Even then people are like, I'm tired, I don't want to do that. So, and one thing I did recently that I tried was I got some boxes because for whatever reason, we always have cardboard boxes in my house. So I got some boxes and I cut holes in them and I drew eyes and, turned them into monsters. And I was like, this one's a pencil monster and you need to feed it pencils. And this one's a paper monster and you need to feed it paper. And this one, I forget what the other, maybe it was a rubbish monster. And so I was like, instead of telling the kids to tidy up, I was like, you need to feed the monsters. And so then they'd run around and find pencils and pens and put them in, feed the monsters. And then I could open the box and take the things and put them away. And so
smart.
I guess with really young kids, the idea of looking after the monster or feeding the monster was a lot more exciting than tidying up.
That's awesome. And I think then you can totally reuse that in different spaces too. Did you know that the monster is hungry today for donations of clothes that don't fit you anymore? Let's feed the monster. you know, you can get quite
Yeah, and it did require quite a bit of chopping and changing. So having a different monster coming out because then they're like, oh, I fed that monster yesterday. It's fine. And
he's on keto, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Tip, using structurally sound boxes. So boxes that will collapse easily do not work because all the stuff falls out the bottom.
Oh, that's a pain.
But yeah,
the monster got diarrhea.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a box from our kettle and there was a box from, I don't know, something else. And I just cut little holes that looked like they were teeth. And then the kids also then wanted to decorate the monsters. I was like, yep, go nuts. So yeah, I mean, like everything in our house, it worked for about 3 days and then stopped working. And now they have gone in the recycling bin. But as an idea, maybe it will work for longer in other people's houses.
And sometimes, as you said, it is about going, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. Oh, I'm going to go back to that because it worked for a little bit. I'm going to tweak that.
Constant chopping and changing and finding what works at the moment. And then that stops working and we find something else. And then we just keep going. I know you've talked before about how many things can you pick up in 2 minutes or can we get this done in 5 minutes? I tried that. And it failed so spectacularly because my kids got so anxious about, do we have enough time left to do this job that they stopped actually picking things up? Or who can pick up the most things? It becomes I picked up bigger things and she picked up, I'm like, it's actually not about who did what.
No. It's like when the kids at primary school do rubbish pickup and they would get points for per piece of rubbish and all the smart kids would rip every bit of rubbish into 10.
Yeah. I've got those kind of kids. They game the system. So yes, I guess the message there is try it and feel free not to use it if it doesn't work for your family and for you. I can't believe it. I got through all of my dot points. How did that work?
Because it's the beauty of the PS episode.
Because I was organised and I did my homework this time and I wrote my thoughts down.
Well, these have been the easiest episodes for me ever because I turn up and go, all right, platform's yours. But listeners, do make sure that you go back and listen to Sylvia's first episode and listen to the other episodes in full. I've had a sneaky look at the stats. Our stats of listeners has gone through the roof and a lot of you are not quite finishing the episodes because, dare I say, they're longer because there's so much to talk about and then you've got ADHD and maybe you're not finishing them. So maybe one of the things you can do is just let the feed just play and it'll just keep finishing episodes. So just let it do its thing.
Yeah. Or, we have ADHD and we don't have a logical, succinct way of saying things. We jump around 4 different stories at the same time.
Yeah, and we have a great old time. We'll be back to shorter episodes next week.
Yeah, so I guess if you're still listening, thank you so much for actually listening to the end of the episode and listening to the PS. I really appreciate it and appreciate the opportunity, Amy. I love helping people and I love coming up with new systems and trying to fix things and really appreciate the opportunity.
So good at it. You're so good at it.
Oh, thank
And
you.
you are so non-judgmental. And I think that's one of the things I love about ADHDers is
For other people, super
Oh, yeah.
judgmental on myself.
We're so mean to ourselves, but we're so lovely to everyone else. But we're genuine, like you
Yeah.
genuinely don't judge others. It's not like I just say that I don't. You genuinely don't. So I'm grateful for that too.
Oh, thank you.
Listeners, I hope you've enjoyed our episode, our little PS episode. I think I should have a look at the schedule, but we might have one more. This might be the last one. And tomorrow, in fact, it is. Tomorrow, you're going to hear my reflections over the series. So enjoy. We will see you tomorrow. And until then, enjoy the freedom.
I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people who are the traditional custodians of the land this podcast is recorded on. I would also like to pay respects to their elders, both past and present, of the Kulin Nation, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's episode, I would love you to rate and review the show on your podcast app. That will help others to find the Art of Decluttering podcast as well. If you'd like any more information, you can visit theartofdecluttering.com.au. And I would love to see you in my Facebook group. Just search the Art of Decluttering community on Facebook and join today. I hope that you have an incredible rest of your day and enjoy the freedom.